Hey everyone, Corey from Aquarium Co-op. Today, we're just taking a look around. I haven't shown you guys the fish room in a long time, been really busy. A lot of summer projects. We had the warehouse, we had the house remodel, we had moving Jimmy here, we have, maybe that's it, who knows, traveling, getting the van ready. But, you know, I decided to do kind of the old school style today, and that was just show off what I'm doing. So in here we have the orange rice fish, as you can see. And we've got some babies going on here. The hornwort that was in here has just always been kind of dying off in here, if you will. But there are fry in here, if I can find them. They definitely, there they go, right in the back there. You can see swimming around the parents, right in the back. And there's more fry in there as well. I think there's one by that one. So I'm hoping we can pull out quite a few. Bring them inside, overwinter these ones outside. See how that goes. Florida flagfish in here, I haven't seen any babies yet, so I'm kind of thinking they never got going in here, like the adults that are in here just didn't do their thing. Yeah, water temp right about 70 degrees at this point, this time of the day. But I'll take you over and show you some of the other ponds as well. So here's some of the other ponds we have going. Obviously we got kind of a row of them going. And this one, there's gold white clouds. I haven't done any scooping to see if we've made any babies yet. We do have hornwort in there and a sponge filter going on, 360 gallons worth of water. I would not be surprised to see babies come out of this one. Over here, I am surprised. I haven't seen a single baby of the platinum rice fish. They got a bigger tank, kind of the same setup, and yet no babies. So, you know, I guess I didn't check before I put them in if I had male and female, but I put in quite a few. I just, you know, you put in like 10 of something, you figure, oh, I gotta have male, female. And then this one here was Jimmy. He's got a lot of pine needles, as you can see. And there's some really nice red cherry shrimp in here. We also put scuds in these as well. But no fish ever since the mascara barbs went in here. Since they got eaten, no fish went into this one. Jimmy never found a new love yet, I guess. Then over here, we're doing guppies. You can see some of the babies in there. And, you know, probably in the next month or so, I'll end up pulling these guys back in and making a sorted tank. But I'm enjoying raising up the babies, and green water is wonderful for that. And, yeah, so super enjoyable. Got a bunch of stuff in the way. This is all remodeling the fish room, right? So all this stuff is leaving. So a breeder rack with 10s and 20s. Got an old metaframe tank. Got a big brine shrimp hatchery, another metaframe tank. All of these tanks coming out. You can see here there's a lot of algae. This one, it should be just a scud farm in here. But who knows at this point. I think this will be my best culture of scuds long term. We had Daphne in here. I'm sure there's Daphne in here as well. But not too much to look at other than, you know, algae at this point. Way over here, if I can get to it, there should be trout goodeids. I gotta go in from the other side to have a chance. So here we have the trout goodeiid pond. It's a little bit loud over here because I have an air pump supplying all these. And basically every once in a while I get to see a glimmer of them go through the sunlight. I don't know that we've made any babies because their gestation period's at least 60 days, but I think they're going to be able to overwinter over here, and once I sell these tanks and I get a little more access over here, I'll try and net some babies out and things. There's plenty of debris and stuff like that for the babies to eat on. Obviously we're feeding as well. But that's kind of the update what's going on out here. And then I'll show you what's going on inside. I think that's what you guys really want to see. So if you've been missing out on some of the impromptu live streams, you might not know what's going on, but basically we're tearing down this wall. So that's why there's no water. In fact, I did this just a couple of days ago with these last tanks. There's no water in any of these. And all this is coming out, we're going to rebuild with 125 tanks. And then we're going to do the same, well, I think really the whole room's going to change, and you guys can kind of let me know what you think. Waru's right here, still hanging out. And there's some orange laser cories. We had to move a lot of the orange lasers because they had to go somewhere. And so there's, you know, orange lasers over here. And they're up top above as well. They've been making a mess up there, but there's a bunch up there. And then I think we put a group down here as well because we had so many I couldn't put them all into one small tank. So They're kind of all around. Here's a little bit of update. Those 10 rummy nose guppies or koi guppies that I bought, almost all of them became males, so I reduced it down just to a trio. So we've got the boy and 2 girls. No fry yet, even though they look healthy. Like there's the male, and like that female looks like she should burst any minute. Same with that one. So I'm hoping, you know, we can get that going. But you know, I'm at the mercy of the fish, right? So anyway, back to what I was thinking. So summertime, kind of been neglecting, if you will, and reworking. All this comes down, and what we're going to put there is over in this space. We cleaned all this out. That's where those tanks came from, and these stands we got to sell off. The rest of the tanks go into the new warehouse. But over here, we've got wood. We've got stands for 125s, and you can see we've got a stack of 125s right back here. So these, we got to drill them, and we're going to put them in. This is the tank we picked up the other day, which you guys might have seen a little bit about that. This is a 280-gallon tank. It's 7 feet long, about 31 inches tall, and it's pretty thick acrylic. I think it's 3/4 on the sides and 1/2 inch on the top. And I got to polish it and do all that, so that's obviously work. But that, I'm thinking about putting a really big sump on it, so I'm thinking about using this big tank, so 280 gallons. And then if we go around my garage here, if we go, oh, you guys haven't seen that in a while, it's a 125-gallon Metaframe right there. But anyway, I'm thinking about using this 135 down here as the sump. So then I'd have, you know, basically 400 gallons, you know, a little more than 400 gallons for a system, and I might do that as all fancy goldfish in the studio room where the 800-gallon is and stuff like that. So that's what I'm thinking. But so when it comes to this room, you know, I told you guys I'm taking you to the way back where I used to do this all the time, just a day in the fish room. So I think we're going to put 4 125s on this wall, and I got to paint the wall black and the PVC and all that kind of stuff, and we're going to bring it in with wood so that the wood hangs from the top and covers everything, so that if this was the 125, you would only see glass, you wouldn't see the rim or water level or anything like that, and it would flip up and down, so it's going to give it a real nice look in here. And then for the center part, I was thinking about wrapping the whole room that way, so like 125s here, 125s all the way to the new sink in the back there, and then on the other end that way. But what I've fallen in love with since being out on the road and stuff was I really fell in love with that 4,000-gallon like pond that guy had with all the big catfish and stuff. And so I'm thinking about building a really big pond in here for maybe my koi, maybe some catfish, maybe the clown loaches. Like I can always change what the stock level is, but it would basically come from the back wall there to about here. That's about 17 feet. I might do 16 feet because lumber at 16 feet makes a lot more sense. But let's say 16 feet out, making sure I don't block this access door. So 16 feet out, and then maybe, you know, so this is 4 feet wide here. This is another 3 feet. And then if I want to go crazy, all the way out to here, which might be 10 or 12 feet wide, and then come up like 3 or 4 feet tall. And what I would do is we'd put a pond liner in it, and then we put a cap on it, so it would be like this, but it might be a little bit lower than this. But I want a bigger space here so that I can pull up like bar stools or something like that, and everyone could sit around. We could have a barbecue, and people could sit and feed the fish, anyone who visited, that type of thing. So I'm trying to decide, do I get, well, no matter what, I know I'm changing the way these aquariums are. That's a given. But do I break them all the way down and replace it with a pond, or do I replace it with other big tanks? I'm finding the larger we grow on YouTube, the less time I have, and with the less time, that means I want my tanks always look good, and they don't. You know, if we're being honest, like there's tanks that I love, like this thing where it's just, I love to breed stuff, tons of shrimp, tons of plecos, tons of livebearers, anubias and bulbitis. Like I love that tank. We're gonna turn that one into a 125. I'll love it. But then there's tanks like this, like the Avatar tank, where once I cut out all the tiger barbs, there's basically a pair of crebensis in here, a bunch of algae that I could take out. But I thought about cleaning this up before shooting the video, but I said, why not? Why not show people what my tank looks like at the end of summer? before we, you know, make everything look good again. I've got a flagtail Procholotus that we're going to quarantine for the big 800 gallon. And then, you know, really all the plants are doing pretty good, honestly. There's some algae, but all of this Crypt spiralis and stuff like that looks pretty good. So, and they haven't bred for me, even though she was dancing and she was on fire color last night. That's why I didn't want to get in here and take this algae away, is because they were close to spawning, and I would love to watch them spawning, and I really love watching them spawn. So, also, they've been nibbling at the algae. So the Crypts will do it a little bit, as you can watch them doing it right here. But the flagtail Procholotus, they're really good algae eaters. He's eating some bloodworms right now, but they'll eat hair algae. So I want him to do the work, get the diet, and when he's done cleaning the tank up, then I can put him in the 800 gallon, he's made it through quarantine, and then this tank will go to the warehouse. So, now, what I'm thinking is if we do that big pond in the center here, you know, I could go either way on that, but I really think it's a cool idea. Then do like 125s on this wall. So I might have 8 125s and then like a 5,000 or 6,000 gallon pond with just really big fish, and that would be pretty cool, I think. And then over here where these turtles are, and we've got lots of boxes from building a studio, I'm thinking about putting my wife's tank. So that'll be a 230 gallon tank, and then on that opposite wall over there where the studio is, you know, basically way over there, like up above all the way on that other wall would be where the 280 plus the sump goes, and then you know the 800 would be right here, obviously. And lots of things to work on. There's a super red bristlenose that's living in this tank, and obviously all the tiger barbs with fat bellies because I've been feeding them. And I put in a Royal Plecostomus, I put in a pinstripe Panache in here. But, you know, we pretty much play, you can see YouTube stats and stuff on my screens over there in the reflection, but, you know, just playing around, letting this get, you know, well seasoned and come around to it. And we might, yeah, this is the wall over here, if this is the 800, the wall right here could have a 7-foot long tank, be big, be all those goldfish. We also thought about a rainbow tank, but we haven't committed to anything. We do have the Aquarium co-op hammock for relaxing, and you know, this has been a good tank overall so far. Really had a lot of fun. I want the water to get a little more clear. I'm realizing the food problem is also because all of the algae eaters we put in, they've taken off all the algae, and that algae is becoming free floating as they scrub it off the rocks. So, you know, I back flush this and not much waste comes out of it at all. It's real easy. All I gotta do is that and a drain of water very quickly. Already got the UV sterilizer, and the pads themselves don't get that dirty. Even though we put a lot of food in there, the pads up top there, you can see there's a little bit of brown, but not that much brown. And you know, it'll get dialed in. That's the important part, is once it gets dialed in. I didn't have to, but I bought a Mighty magnet, and it's basically a $300 magnet that can go through the 1-inch thick acrylic. Crazy expensive, but it does a wonderful job. I will say that, you know, whenever something does what it's supposed to do and no one else can provide it to me, it's money well spent. The other thing I'm thinking about adding to my repertoire, I've got the itch to play with salt water. I basically want to play with macroalgae and copepods like all day long. So I kind of want to build a sump system that goes down in here, which means I have to cut out pieces and stuff and build something custom. Oh, this thing would open. Come on. There we go. Build sump, cut out some of the braces. There is extra bracing in the back, so it's already been, before I bought this, prepped a little bit so that it could have that done. And so I'm thinking you have this big, well not big, it's like 50 gallons, 50 gallon tank up top. You got a big sump that I can build a lot of macroalgae and pods and stuff like that, and I kind of want to plant the main display with macroalgae, and then once I have all these little critters going, figure out what animals I want to keep in there. So that's an option as well. It's not going to stay here, but you know, that's my thinking. So basically everything in this room is going to change and move around in, you know, I would say the near future. For sure that wall's happening pretty quick. I would love in the next month or 2 months to get this pond built, but that means I gotta move a bunch of stuff. So that's why there's tanks missing. So for instance, there's 40 breeders that are missing on this rack. They went to the warehouse. I just set the 75 gallon here. When we move those to a 125, that can be broken down. Another 125 is gonna be for Ladybird. Yeah, where'd you go, Ladybird? There you are. Ladybird is checking us out. And we just, you know, plants in here. This is a 40 breeder in acrylic. And, you know, it's just, we'll move that. And then that's one more out of the way. And these guys have been doing really well. I really wanted to bring them outside this year. I just never did. And I really want to set up a multi-tank. But I've got the Sips and I've got the high fin Variatus platies. And I just love those Variatus platies. You can see here we've been feeding them quite a bit of greenery because they've got green poop. And then you can see the female Sips in here, they all have mouthfuls of babies. So all their mouths are bulging. And then we've been raising up babies in here as well. You can see those little babies. Swim around, you can see there's some platy babies going in the weeds there. So I typically, you know, I don't break my way into nature if it's already producing. You know, you can just see that guy's raised up in here, both those little guys. But this tank is going to need to move. It's only 100 gallons. It's in the way. It's got to go somewhere. So, you know, look at that one raised up. I like that fish. But that's where we're at. You know, here's a nice little, this is all cryptlucens right here. And we're winning, you know, kind of the battle on algae. I like this claudophora algae. This algae right in here, the fish are eating off for me, which is good. You can see more babies right here that have been raising up. And so I've just been letting things, nature take its course, really. As I've been working on things and nature's been working on things, it's been coming together pretty good. Over here we've got baby turtle town. You can see some turtles, they crawl up on the logs and stuff like that and they dirtle around, you know, dirtle turtles. And that's going to be another one of the 125s. Another 125 is going to be the turtle tank. We need to upgrade the size for the adults. These guys need to upgrade their size tank. And when we do that, that frees up this tank, you know, so you can kind of see how that's going. We already moved the best guppies in the world. These are the fry and the, yeah, basically the fry from all the adults in here. And you can see when I say they're starting to get that color, they're not exact replicas yet, but they do look pretty decent. We also have Heteroander formosa in here, and we have all the black rose shrimp. And when I got 10 of those from Rob a few months ago, when I moved them over to this 20 gallon, I counted them and I had 33, I believe. So, you know, that went pretty good. Let me grab a stool so I can get a better look at some of these lower tanks. So someone just today was asking me what happened to the African cichlid planted tank. And this is what happened to it. We let some algae grow. That's some babies that grew up in here that took out my teacup platies. And then I decided to bring home these Kamaka rainbows and they had to live somewhere. So they're living in this 75 gallon tank. They look amazing. And I'm considering putting a rainbow tank together. I just don't know in what capacity. This 75 has to be broken down no matter what. I really need to get a sponge on that intake. As you can see back here, it's sucking in all these leaves. If I put a sponge on the intake, that'll become a non-issue. Because the flow will dramatically increase now that that's not restricting. But, so that's what happened, you know, with this tank. It just became a rainbow tank for now, and it's just holding on to some stuff for us, and I think that's where we're at. We're in stasis mode because we're changing. Over here, we've got just some of these yellow tuxedo guppies. There's a few baby mollies and yellow shrimp in here. And that's what a lot of these tanks are, really. Like, there's some algae and some more of a guppy strain, if I can get the focus in there. There's eating some bloodworms. And same over here, you know, I need to get bigger tanks of them going. Shrimps everywhere, obviously, and lots of moss, but yeah. So another strain, the Japanese blues right here. They're still kicking along, still producing babies. You can see there's babies kind of all around in here. And I got to make a giant guppy tank, really, is what I need to make. I want to make at least a 125 filled with them. I thought about making the world's biggest guppy pond, but that might be a waste of 6,000 gallons of water, so I'm probably going to do big catfish or something I can pet. But let me move on over and we'll check out some more tanks. In here we've got a horrible glare, but this is the leopard frog pleco tank. I apologize for the glare, but You can see there we've got, you know, wood fiber from all the plecos eating, and we've got lots of babies. That's the thing we've got going on here. Lots of baby of the red delta, but the leopard frogs are taking caves, and so that's a good sign. That means they might be getting closer to sexual maturity. So maybe we've got another 3 months or 4 months before they start doing anything, which is good. Got infinite water lettuce going on up here. You know, the dim light, they like it dim. They come out a little bit more. They feed a little bit better. And so yeah, it's been a good pair so far. I think it's working out well. And then down below here, we had to condense some tanks. So we've got the Pseudotropheus solosi. The yellow are the females. The blue and black are the males. That one right there is kind of an in-between. So that's a male that's converting. And then we've got the like albino Juliachromis transcriptus, and we've still got all the little Lucipinus in here swimming around, but these might become kind of another 125. I don't know that necessarily going to mix lakes, so it'll probably be Pseudotropheus in there, and then, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do with the Julies yet, but yeah, just a couple more of the tanks are still going. Well, I dropped the microphone thing that I was using. Had to get that going. Now it's gonna make Jimmy's job even harder, but whatever I can do to get better audio. I like this headpiece much more than a lapel mic, by the way, just for the record. But over here we've got the haplocats. I brought those home recently. I've been wanting a group of these for a very long time. Flagtail, porthole catfish, and then we've got celestial pearl danios in the tank as well. They're just in quarantine for something fun for me to do with them. I don't know what I'm doing with them yet. These are all the sailfin mollies from Greg Sage. I downsized them into this 20. They seem to be doing like just as good, if not better, in this 20 than they were in the 40. So that's odd. Still got claroplecos, still breeding, still doing their thing. There's still guppy babies. You know, this is a tank that I could see upsizing myself into a 125 or something like that long term. In here, we do have the Dovi. I am convinced it's probably a female. Don't know what I'm going to do with her yet. I want it to be a little more bright. If she colors up more, I might be able to keep her. If she stays pretty dull, then I might get a male for her and see how that goes. In here we just got the blue silverado guppies. This is all Pogostemma stellatus octopus plant. And for whatever reason, even though I've had these for 2 or 3 months now, I have not gotten a single fry that I know of out of these black Moscow Dumbo ears, which is super bizarre. You know, there's plenty of cover in there, and she doesn't even look. I mean, she's gravid, but not even doesn't look like she's ready to pop. These guys, I'm on the fence about whether I want to play with them. These are those Irvini. I've just been growing them out. They need a much bigger tank. That's what I really need to do for them. So that's on the to-do list. And then down in here we've got multis. I got these from Steenfod Aquatics. And we've just got a little setup for them. I do want to do a tank with these, and I'm thinking about doing a 125 or something bigger with them with the sips. I think that would look really cool. Down here we have holding just of a Ryukin goldfish and some Weitzmanni cories, kind of just in stasis, if you will. And then over here we've got the black metal lace guppies, lots of fry going on, and assassin snails, and super red bristlenose, and lots of duckweed, really. But, and then I won't say last, or you know, getting towards the end here, I've got the reticulated hillstream loaches. These have all been quarantined to go into the 800 gallon. Quarantined for several weeks because every hundreds of fish you add, there's more and more risk, or not more and more risk, but you've got more and more to lose. So I'm really quarantining them well. In here, this is a 125 I wanted to get going. I know the camera work is horrible here, but these are just normal endlers. And you guys will see, you will have seen this between probably my channel or the Jimmy Aquarium Co-op channel. And we're getting fry, and that's good. But these I got from Goliad Farms. And just kind of a tank with nothing in it. There's a goldfish down here. But yeah, that's the state. I mean, let's be honest here. Crazy busy summer. I wouldn't say anything is neglected to the point of like, oh God, you horrible person. Everything's breeding. There's some algae. Everything doesn't look aesthetically amazing, but I'm also playing musical chairs. Like, I really want to swap a lot of these tanks out. And there's a couple more tanks I can show you, which would be in the old studio. So let me walk into the old studio here. Now it's kind of become an equipment room, but in here we have, so there are some betta pugnecks in here. I don't know where they are right now. There's some algae going on. Unbeknownst to me, so what happened was we had the timer, I had a random timer break and it left the light on for like 3 weeks straight. So that was horrible. So then I replaced the timer, but then the fixture was a little bit loose, so it was off for like 3 weeks. So I lost, well, I didn't lose, but a lot of these leaves got yellow. So now the light's back on the right timer, and we're going to let things settle back out. But I really do love these platies I got from Goliad Farms. I've been watching them for a very long time. There's still a few guppies left in here. We harvest a lot of the guppies out of here to put outside, and then when they have to come back in, that I don't know exactly where they're going yet. But you can see here we shot some videos on lighting, and we've got another one right here. We're going to do this review. This is the review of the 50-watt LED floodlight halogen. People have really been wanting PAR data and stuff like that, so we bought one to help you guys. And if I just turn it on, you can see how much brighter that's going to be on one side. And I want to say that thing was like 25 bucks or something, so it's pretty decent, honestly. You know, I haven't used it to grow plants, but I have a feeling that it's pretty good bang for your buck, honestly. And with that light on, we can see my betta pugnecks hanging out underneath there. They're pretty reclusive. But that's what's going on in this tank. And then if I keep moving tripods and stuff out of the way, over here, I basically turned this into the yellow shrimp tank and like scuds. We put a bunch of scuds in here. I don't know where they went. There's a lot of pest snails. I've been feeding. Oh, there's some scuds. You can see that little guy going around right there. Yep, and then, oh man, it's hard to zoom in on them and find where they're moving. Like, there's another one. So we're populating scuds. I want to get those going on, like you might have seen those in the tour of Ocean Aquarium. So yeah, that's where we're at, guys. Thanks for subscribing. On the left, we have our latest video. Make sure you check that out. On the right, we have more videos lined up for you, which we think you'll enjoy if you enjoyed this video. Down below, we have the Jimmy of Aquarium Co-op channel. Make sure you check that out, and we'll see you in the next one.